Good Nature's essence is to work with the rural small-scale farmers. We have put rural small-scale farmers at the center of all our operations. Our main aim is to move them from poverty and into the middle class. You will realize in this video that most of these small-scale farmers live very far off the beaten path. They live about 40 kilometers from our main operations in the city of Chipata, and in the Eastern Province alone, these small-scale farmers receive trainings from Good Nature. They are entrusted with a small-scale farmer loan, and lastly, we provide market. Most of our field operations are conducted by our field supervisors. Our field supervisors are college-trained extension personnel that work and live in some of these communities. Every day, these field supervisors ride motorbikes to reach out to farmer fields and farmer homes. They monitor trainings, they distribute inputs, and also help with the buying process. Some of our most recognized field supervisors have emerged from some of these communities. The profile of our small-scale farmers at Good Nature Agro is similar. We choose farmers that have access to land. We also choose farmers that have worked in these communities and lived in these communities. These small-scale farmers are predominantly farmers. They've been farming their whole life. I would like to introduce you to Zisaina Piri. Zisaina Piri is one of the farmers that has risen from farmerhood into becoming a field supervisor.
My name is Zisaina Piri. I joined Good Nature Agro in 2014. I was a small-scale farmer by then. In 2015, I was elevated to private extension agent. In my line of work, I was promoted to field supervisor in 2015. Being a field supervisor, I've been trained to train my 400 farmers. I reach out to their fields and I aid them in the buying process.
Zisa lives in the community, has grown up there, and has a lot of local knowledge about the processes that take place there. This time of the year, Zisa embarks on buyback, which is buying the crop back from the small-scale farmers. Zisa will now tell us a little bit about how that process is done.
When we talk of buyback process, buyback is buying back of the seed, the same seed which was given to the farmers. The company buys it back. Before farmers brings the seed to the company, farmers are trained in seed cleaning. After cleaning the seed, the company announces the date of the market, the opening of the market. So before the farmer brings the seed, the agent, the private extension agent, make the follow-ups we call home checks, just to make sure that the seed is there according to our estimates. So after checking the bags, the farmer, we advise the farmer to bring the seed to the buying point. When farmers bring the seed at the buying point, first thing, we ask our farmers to open the bags so that we ensure the quality is okay. We collect some samples from the bags, and those samples are put together to make a composite sample. That sample determines the grade which that farmer has to be given. After checking that sample, we check for off types, the percentage of off types, the percentage of unwanted materials. These are foreign materials like stones and sticks and leaves. After checking the percentage of unwanted materials from the seed, we certify that this seed will be bought at grade A or B or C. But before weighing the bags, we have sieves at each buying point. These sieves were made to see the overview of the seed from each bag in order to certify the quality. So each bag should go through the sieve, and farmers are asked to put the seed on the sieve. After checking the seed on the sieve, we certify the quality. If the quality is okay, we give that bag a grade, which is grade A. When the quality is not so good, we downgrade that seed because there will be a lot of time to do the sorting or cleaning of that seed. After rebagging that seed will go now for weighing. That bag is weighed. After weighed, is labeled. We have our unique IDs per farmer. So we put a unique ID for that particular farmer by indicating the district where that farmer belongs to, the initial for the field supervisor, and the initial for that camp where that farmer belongs to. And the last digits are the code for that farmer. So after labeling, the stitching is done by the farmers, but the labeling is done by the private extension agent. After stitching, the stacking is done by our farmers, and after stacking the bags, the field supervisor produces what we call the GRN, goods received note, to that farmer. And that farmer will now wait for the payment after the process is done.
To complement fieldwork, we have embraced the use of technologies. One of the technologies we're using is our monitoring and evaluation tool called Smallholder. Here's a little bit about how the software works.
In our current world, every business should uses data to make business insights, and GNA is not different. So we need to collect data from the farmers in order for us to better serve them and gain business insights. So for this, we use an app called Smallholder. And Smallholder is an app that can be used offline to collect data. Then afterwards, the data is synced for us to collect online. So some of the data that is collected in Smallholder is such as registration of the farmer and how the field size of the farmer. And later on, we collect data such as how many the yield the farmer produced, the type of crops. Then we use that data to calculate how much we should pay back the farmer. So that same system is connected to the finance department, it's connected to the operations, and it just, in a general sense, it helps us gain a good understanding of how we are performing out there in the field. So we have the private extension agent and we have a field supervisor. So what happens is these two groups of people collect the data from the field, from the farmers. And after they collect this data, maybe such as GPS coordinates of a particular field, for instance, what they'll do is they'll collect it offline. Then once they get an internet connection, they sync it. And what this means is they upload this data from an offline mode to an online mode. And then that's when I, as a database associate, I'm able to access it from the cloud. And after I access this data, that's when I use tools such as Python and Excel to analyze this data and report it to the stakeholders involved, such as the finance department, the operations department, and so on and so forth. So that's basically my role here. I work with the FSs and the Ps who fellow work with the farmers, and I connect that to the finance and the operations and everyone else.
Working with some of these small-scale farmers has given us privilege to learn a little bit about them. Some of these farmers set their objectives at the beginning of every cropping year.
Nene muntu nenyawa pili pamunzi paka ng'ombe. Ne mulimi wa good nature. Uno ulendo ni wa chivili. Ndipo mulimi wa good nature uno ulendo napezamo phindu. Pamene nasirisha mbewu zangu izi kulima nawanazo kuno kumunzi. Nazitola ndithu nazipereka kumsika. Ndipo kumsika uko napeza nazo phindu yanapeza nazo kumsika. Pamene ndandalama zangu za good nature kuyamba nagulamo ng'ombe, nawera nagulamo matresi, nawera pa matresi negula na chilimba. Izi zina nikaliye kwanilishana nawo wa good nature kuti sije ulimi wa good nature koma nauona bwino kwambiri. Chino changa chitufulana tikalima ulendo uyu ukuza nifuna Honda. Abanjamuna banga adiso ni Nkoma amenyilima nawo mulimi wa good nature ametapeza nawo bwino.
Neyo Suzani Phiri pamusipaka ng'ombe. Zochita zangu ne mulimi wa good nature. Awe mwandi good nature naonamo bwino. Chaka choyamba namangamo ng'anda ya malumzi atatu malata 21. Nikuza chino chaka nina chilingo chogula lija mpaka na zina za mng'anda soti zofanikira. Chaka cha mawa nufuna nditu nikagula kwa TV tuwana kuti tukonako mnanda nikankhala pa ulimi wa good nature. Ndipo waniendera bwino ndipo nauona bwino.
After a long day's work, our field extension team heads back to our headquarters to take back the crop, to take back the news, and also to bring any information that's relevant out of the field. Thank you so much for being with us on this Good Nature experience.